Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. So today, like I said, we're going to focus on stripping down this engine, giving it a clean. However, I don't know if anyone noticed last night, but when I was editing the footage, I found something that I hadn't seen yet. Let me just take you out here and I'll show you what I mean. So I don't know if anyone saw it, but there is a hole in the bottom of the ski right there that my finger fits through. And I didn't see that until last night when I was editing. So that'll be a good little fix up as well. So interested to see if anyone did see it. Normally people point that sort of stuff out. Anyway, let's get back to the engine. Start pulling this apart. So many of these lines are so hard on this ski. Crazy. I'm gonna have to replace a lot of them, which is fine. I'd rather replace them than fail out in the water, because that's so hard. There we go, got it. All right, so that's off there. So I'm just gonna take off the carby first. Like I said, we're going to start stripping that down. And just take off these back retaining bolts. A good code of practice that I always do is when you're doing something like this, leave the nuts on the very end. That way you can get the movement when you need to tap it, but if you hit it, it doesn't just fly off and you lose bits and pieces everywhere, because that's just a nightmare when that happens. Okay, so like I said, the throttle action is jammed, and if you look down there you can see there's a flat plate which you can sort of just see around either side. That's what's meant to turn, so that adjusts the amount of air fuel sucked into the engine. There's plenty of videos on YouTube explaining how Venturi and carburetors and air fuel mixture works, so I'm not going to delve into that right now. What I am going to do though is I'm going to start pulling this apart so that we can get it into the ultrasonic cleaner, so that we can try and get it back to its former glory without having to buy too many parts for it. So let's start stripping it down. Okay, so flip this over and we can see in here we've got some Phillips head screws. And do those with the correct screwdriver. Oops. Come on. Okay, so there's one of them. Not very long. A lot of force on this. I feel like both of those broke off. They did. Okay. Not ideal, but we can work with it. There you go. And you can see just the corrosion and crap on the top side of that. That's going to have to be cleaned. Hopefully, where they broke off, hopefully when I pull out this, they're far enough in that I'll be able to still pull that spline that butterfly sits on. I'll be able to get that out, and then I can work on it outside the carburetor. So let's have a look at that now. So I'll put that there, and I'll put the sequence in which they came off. And like that, perfect. Now, that's off there. Take that out. Take the spring off. Slide. Okay, now to get out this axle that runs through, this end's easier, it runs through, as you can see, like I said, those screws broke off, which means that I can't slide this out the traditional way. There's a little locking pin and washer on here, but I can't slide that out because they're going to catch on the inside of the chamber because they're sitting proud, so that can't slide out. So I think what I'm going to have to do is try and drill them out somehow. So I've just decided here, I'm just going to drill these out. It's very hard to get probably the right camera angle for you to be able to see, but you have to just have trust when doing what I'm doing. So I've just gently, with a very small little file, just taken the top off that, and now I'm hoping that if I just tap this, it should just come out. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Look at that. So you can see there, hopefully you can see it. There's two little bits across there. I have to clean them up on the wire wheel before it goes back in again. But anyway, great. That's out. That's fantastic. Actually doesn't look too bad, if I'm honest. I half expected these to be torn, but they're not, which is great. So you can see there, and then you can see down there, there's the little tiny check valves, which we'll need to clean for sure. Alright, I'm going to take these off, and I'm going to label them out, and that way we can start to get to cleaning all of this. Look at the gunk in that. So that is our high jet. There's a little, I don't know if you can see it or not, but on there, at the end of the jet now, there's a little H just in there. So that's our high jet. Our low jet's this side. Again, I don't know if you can see at the end of the screwdriver, there's an L. So I'll take off this little funky donkey cap. Low jet, so the low jet is physically smaller, or a lot more oily. The low jet isn't there, but I'd say it's our pilot or idle. I'll take that out of there. Okay, so the pilot or idle is very, very shiny compared to the other two. So as you just saw, that bracket has just absolutely, that's just fallen apart. There's no strength left in that whatsoever. I don't know, I'm gonna have to work something else out for that now. I'm gonna have to get a new one, I think. Okay, there's even some pretty gnarly pitting on the casing. Alright, cool. Keep moving forward. Let's get these off and get it off, try and get it off, and I don't know, get a new one. The whole bracket's falling apart. Yeah. Oh. Nothing wrong with that. It's actually not too bad.
That's pretty good.
It's actually really clean in there, which is good. We did change over these plugs, but for the moment they'll do. That one's broken. Alright, so the carburetor's just come out after a couple of washes. Unfortunately, my air compressor is still not working, so I don't have a way of blowing it out, but I'm certainly happy with how it looks. So let's have a look at the engine. So after the hot wash, you can see there's some pretty bad pitting on this. Oh, my finger's in the way there. Which I think we'll be able to just build up with some JB Weld. If not, we'll be trying to find a bottom end for it, which is less than ideal. Some of these bolt holes have cracked here too. Okay, so progress today. Pretty good. Pretty happy with all that. As you saw, the carburetor was in the bath for a little bit. That definitely needs a bit more of a clean, but I need my compressor back up and running. And it probably needs some agitation as well from some sort of a brush and a bit of degreaser just to get all that rubbish off it. Looking at the block, it has been opened before, which is not surprising given it's a 93. As you just saw, the pitting underneath's not ideal. All this extra silicon's a bit of a concern too, but we're not going to delve too much into the engine side of it unless I really have to once everything's back together. There is some pitting on the side here, hopefully you can see that, but I'll just put some rust converter on that. The idea is I'm going to soda blast this whole thing, and then either black spray or some other sort of fancy finish. So for today, that's it. Pretty happy with all that progress for the weekend. Next weekend, I'm going to start stripping this motor down and taping it up so that we can paint it, and then also getting into probably some repairs on the actual ski itself, on the body, getting into pulling off some of the wiring and the cables that are currently there. I might enlist a bit of help for that as well. So see how we go. Stay tuned. Everyone have a really good week, and I'll see you all next weekend.